men can be trained to be unselfishly and divinely magnetic and radioactive, then there will be poured out upon the world certain divine forces which will vivify and reconstruct, which will eliminate the evil and heal the sick. Hitherto the attempts of men in the field of medicine, of healing and of the various forms of therapy have been the result of impulses, to respond to these hovering forces, but that is all as yet. These are the three major faculties which the spiritual man can unfold. Other faculties, and developing capacities are only expansions of these three: telepathic thought, receiving and transmitting. Intuitive recognition of truth and its formulation into concepts by the mind, plus the later process of materializing that which has been intuited, the highest form of creative work. Healing, with its understanding of energy, and forces which will lead later to the rebirth of humanity. Little by little, the picture of the possibilities and of the plan will unfold before you as your minds increase in sensitivity and your brains become more responsive to mental impulses. Little by little, the disciples of the world will work at the reproduction on the physical plane of that which exists subjectively. Little by little, there will appear all over the earth groups of illumined souls who can cooperate with the masters with perfect freedom of intercourse because their responsiveness has been scientifically trained and developed. Their power to work in tune with or in unison with the hierarchy, to cooperate with the group life of many other groups of disciples and to communicate light and revelation to the world of men will later be an accomplished fact and is already much more actively present and potent than you think. A little vision, brother of mine, makes the way of the disciple easier, and hence I have enlarged somewhat upon the possibilities which we, with our prevision, regard as already facts in manifestation. Nothing can stop the eventual success of the plan. It is simply a question of time. One of the steps in training which lies ahead of you is the establishing of a closer contact with me, your Tibetan teacher. This you must attempt with no formulated ideas as to what the results will be, if any are to be objectively realized. The results may be sensed by me alone on my side, or they may work out in certain specific realizations and even phenomena on your side. I indicate not the results of such an activity, for the power of suggestion, and the response, of the creative imagination is a fruitful source of glamour. I would, therefore, ask all of you who are my disciples to endeavor to make a contact with me at the time of the full moon each month. Make sacrifice in order to establish this monthly relation, as I will make my adjustments to contact you. May I emphasize the necessity for holding the thought of that contact for 3 whole days prior to the full moon itself, with aspiration and with confidence, and then for 3 days afterwards with expectancy. May I point out the prime importance of making this a group activity, and not a personal contact. Enter upon the work with the realization of your group relation with your fellow disciples, and with me, for only in so far as you seek to contact me as a disciple in my group will the measure of your success be rated. This contact is not of the same nature as that direct and individual contact between a chela and his master. Many of you are linked with your own master, though temporarily working in my ashram. Your contact with me is intended to be a group contact, and, as a group, you will seek to strengthen the tie between us. This, therefore, is an act of group service to be rendered selflessly, and with no personal expectancy. Owing to the pressure of time and of urgency in service, I am one of several teachers who have pledged themselves for the next few years to keep the 12 hours prior to the full moon of each month open for contacts with their disciples, so that at any time during that 12 hours, the world servers and disciples can make an attempt to reach us. This will somewhat facilitate your work, for you need not, therefore, keep the exact hour of the full moon, unless this is easily possible. Service in the world these days requires constant pressure and attention, and the work is strenuous. It may not always be possible for you to make your approach at the exact hour of the full moon, though you can at that hour always silently and interiorly lift up your heart and eyes to the eternal. But at some hour during the preceding 12 hours, you can make your approach. When you do so rightly, you will find me waiting. Go to your work with clear vision, a loving heart and an understanding love. Much can then be accomplished. Part IV. As these groups of disciples become active in the world, and their inner integration and group relationship become securely established, we shall have the germ of those characteristics which will dignify the new age groups. I would ask you all never to forget that this group work you are attempting to do is in reality pioneer work and hence has all the difficulties which pioneer work inevitably and necessarily has. Thereby strength to grow is gained. As the number of these groups increases and the personnel is gradually supplied, the skeleton framework of a future structure will slowly emerge. How that structure will appear, when completed, is known only to the inspired vision of the architects. But the foundations must be set sure and deep. The framework must be true and rightly adjusted. These two requirements are all that any of you will see materialize in this present lifetime. Have you realized, however, my brothers, what occult progress in the world you have been permitted to see during this present lifetime? Have you glimpsed the magnitude of the present push that is being made by the masters, and have you recognized their plans taking shape before your eyes? Have you grasped the essentials of what the Great White Lodge has done during the past 25 years and the extent of the work in which disciples and aspirants everywhere have been permitted to share? I would like briefly to enlarge somewhat upon this so as to make the picture clearer to your eyes in order that you may cooperate with greater intelligence, for this is above everything else group work. Slowly and gradually, as far as you are all concerned, I have gathered together a band of disciples upon the outer plane. As the group thought form integrated and disciples responded to my call, found each other and began to work together, it became possible for me to go forward with my chosen work and carry forward the plans which I set myself when I took a certain initiation. First of all, the books were published and they came out in ordered sequence and provide a body of teaching and of truth which will serve the needs of the coming generation. It is for my disciples to safeguard this presentation of truth during this century and to see to it that the books are sent forth steadily upon their mission, until they are finally superseded next century by a newer and more adequate teaching. Next came a happening of vital moment of more moment than you can perhaps appreciate. An instruction upon the new group of world servers was sent out and given wide distribution by means of the pamphlet entitled The Next 3 Years. This signalized the anchoring, if so I might call it, of the new group of world servers upon the physical plane. They are now in active existence. The group is slowly integrating and slowly making its influence felt in the primary work of educating public opinion, the only potent means of work and of far more potency and ultimate value than any legislation or emphasis upon authority. Growing out of the integration of this new group, there is being formed in the world that bridge of souls and servers, which will make possible the merging of the inner subjective hierarchy of souls and the outer world of humanity. This will constitute an actual fusion, or blending, and will mark the initiation of the human family through the achievement of its foremost, pioneering members. This is the true marriage in the heavens, of which mystical Christianity speaks, and the result of this fusion will be the manifestation of the fifth kingdom in nature, the kingdom of God. In the past history of the race, a great event occurred which brought into manifestation the fourth kingdom in nature, the human kingdom. We stand now on the verge of a similar, but still more momentous event, the appearance of the fifth kingdom, as a result of the planned activity of the new group of world servers, working in collaboration with the hierarchy of perfected souls, and under the guidance of the Christ himself. This will usher in the new age wherein 5 kingdoms in nature will be recognized as existing side by side upon earth. You have, therefore, been permitted to share in, and watch the work of the hierarchy to the extent of your individual spiritual contact, and have seen the following spiritual events taking place. 1. The sending forth of the teaching for the new age. This deals with the new psychology, and with the control of the personality, and with the mysteries of the kingdom of God. 2. The founding in embryo of those schools of esotericism which will embody the teaching for the new discipleship, and make it practical in application. There are several of these schools, and the arcane school is one of the first. They prepare the way for the greater foundations, outlined in my book, Letters on Occult Meditation. 3. The recognition on a fairly large scale of the new group of world servers, and their work. 4. The emergence, as yet only in symbolic indication of the 5th or spiritual kingdom. 5. The forming of the skeleton structure of the new groups of disciples, the externalization in embryo of the inner ashrams. These in the new age will multiply, and so carry forward the work of integrating the inner and the outer groups, and fostering the growth of the kingdom of God on earth. This will bring to public attention the fact of the restoration of the mysteries of initiation. The production of the outer form on earth, through the medium of books, of esoteric schools and the educating of public opinion has been committed to a group of us who form a part of the inner world government disciples and initiates, and to this group, I play the part of secretary and of organizing contact man, if I may use words which will mean something to your ears. Verse, as you are in physical plane organization work. They mean little or nothing to us. Verse, as we are in the work of producing living organisms. This group to which I refer is composed of 2 Oriental initiates, of whom I am one, and of 5 Occidental initiates. We will leave now the consideration of this general picture and return to the subject of the specific work that this particular group of my disciples can do. You must avoid the idea that you are working in a unique way, and alone. This is not so. There are many today working intelligently with our plans, often isolated and alone. The main requirement in the group work which I seek at this time to emphasize is the most difficult one of the true impersonality. On 2 points, disciples in the past have ever been emphatic. They have seen and felt the need for reticence, where there is any inner spiritual experience, and have felt that the relating or the discussion of the spiritual and the higher psychic events in their lives produced a sense of loss and was against the occult law. They have equally demanded reticence about their personality lives, about their mistakes and failings, and have demanded it more loudly than the permission to be silent about their soul life. Their demand has been based on the true recognition that the discussion of a spiritual happening with those who do not understand has in it a great deal of danger, the danger of misinterpretation, of glamour and of illusion. The desire for reticence in the personality life is based usually on pride, on the fear of criticism, on terror of being derided, misunderstood and judged. These are all unworthy motives. Among the disciples of the New Age groups and ever in the